All right, so in this video, we're going to talk about lines of fit, often referred to as a best fit line. What a best fit line is, it kind of in the name, it's a line that fits the data the best. I'm hoping you've looked at these maybe a little bit in science, but we're going to put kind of just a general idea around best fit lines, and these will be studied a lot more in depth next year in algebra. So what a best fit line does, how do you identify or make a best fit line? Here, we're taking what we have here are scatter plots. Now, in a scatter plot, we don't connect all the points like a dot to dot. We leave the data itself, and we create a line that is the best representation of the data. So the best way to do that is we want to put a ruler or a line down, and the goal is to touch as many points in the line as we can, or be as close to as many points as we can. So I kind of have a general rule of thumb when I do this. I like to, and I'm going with this side of my ruler, and I picked a clear ruler so that you can kind of see the points through it. And maybe if I zoom in, we can do this a little better. I try to go in the middle of as many points as I can. So if I can go through points, that's awesome. But I'd like to say, all right, if I drew this line here, I would have 1, 2, 3, 4 points above it. And if we look under, I would have 1, 2, 3, 4 points below it. And I'm actually through this point. That's a pretty good line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw that and see if I like it. So here's my line. I'm saying that's like the closest line I can draw to the points. We're actually almost through 2 points. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 above, 1, 2, 3 above, or excuse me, 4 below, 3 above. I'm pretty much in the middle. I think it's a pretty good line of fit. Now, let's look at what a bad line of fit would look like. So now that we know what a good one looks like, we can kind of identify why one would be bad. So what if I drew this blue line? Well, it's not really in the same direction as the points are going. It's kind of at a less steep of an angle. I got a lot of dots or points below the line. It is good that it's through 2, but I have 1 above, a bunch below. It's not really in the middle. Not really in the middle. I could draw another similar one going, maybe it's in a better direction, but let's check out this orange line. Okay, it's a little steeper than the blue line. It's steeper than the red line. It's going through the middle of the points. I have 1, 2, 3 above it. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 below it. So it's kind of in the middle, but it's not really in that direction or the same direction as the points. And what the goal here is if I continued the orange line way up here, we're predicting that the dots are going to touch the line up there too. But do you think that if my dots keep going the way they're going, will they be close to that orange line in the future? They won't be. They'll be pretty far away. Let's try the red line. If my points continue, see how they'd be closer to the red line in the future? They'd be closer. They're kind of going in that direction. So that would be our red line would be the best one we could draw there. Now, we talked in the last video about this word correlation. Correlation. So correlation refers to the direction and how close the points are to our line of fit. So in our correlation here, we would say it's a positive correlation And it's positive because, like in the last video, it's going up. And we would say it's a strong correlation because the dots are pretty close to the line. The dots are pretty close to the red line. So that makes it strong. If they were far away from the line, they would be weak. We'd say it's a weak pattern or a weak correlation. Let's look at another graph. Let's draw a couple more lines of fit. I'm going to put my ruler down, and I'm going to try to get as far in the middle as I can. And I like this line right here. The reason I like this line is I'd go through 1, 2, 3 points. So I'm through 3 points this time. I have 1, 2, 3 points above, and I have 1, 2, 3 points below. So that seems like it's in the middle to me. Through 3 points, 3 points above, and 3 points below. Now I'm really good at this, but sometimes you gotta kind of just imagine it or visualize it, or sometimes you draw a line and it's not so good. Then you just erase it and try again. But usually you can identify if a line's not good after you pull the ruler away. Okay, last piece here. We wanted to talk about correlation. So would this be a positive or a negative correlation? Well, it's going to be positive because it's going in an upward direction. And these points are pretty close to the line. So I might say this is a strong positive correlation. All right, let's look at 2 more. Here, I'm going to try again. So let's say I do this one. I really like this line here. What do you think you'd say? Good line or bad line? I would say it's a bad line. And the reason I would say that it looks good. It looks like it's through the points. But notice that I don't really have any points below. And the ones that might be below, and you might say, nope, Mr. Reason, those are below. They're like really close to the line. And I do have a couple above, and those ones are further away from the line. So I'm thinking if I took that line and I just kind of scooted it this way, I might have a better line. So I'm going to try that. I'm going to try that in blue. I'm going to say, you know what? I'm just going to scoot it that way a little bit. Now this line looks better. I'm through 1, 2, almost 3 points. I have 1, 2, 3 above, 1, 2, 3, 4 below. And that's okay. You're not always going to be able to have the same amount above and the same amount below, but if you're maybe 1 off, that's good. So that would be a good line. And we would call this what kind of correlation? Well, this would be negative. And it would actually be, since those points are again really close to the line that we drew, we would probably say this is strong as well. And our last graph, our last scatter plot. This graph, if you remember, this looks crazy. They're everywhere. There's not really a pattern in these points. So if I try to draw a line, I don't know where I draw it. I mean, is this good? Is this good? Is this good? You can see it's a lot more difficult than the other 3 that we looked at. So because it's really difficult, you might notice that there's actually no relationship. If you look back at our video from before, there's no relationship here. There's not a trend in the data. So if there's no relationship, I skipped a whole part. There's no line. If there's no relationship, there's no line. And that is what a best fit line looks like and how we can draw it. And the reason we use it is to help make predictions in the future. And that is lines of fit.